Welcome to our webinar. I'm so glad you all are here. I am so excited. I just love being with Jen McDonough. She is one of my favorite people, and I'm grateful for her for being here as my host and moderator. Help me stay online and share with you exactly what we need to share with you today. Jen is an 8-time National Olympic weightlifter, 2-time U.S. Olympic Festival medal winner, and an Ironman triathlete. I feel like I'm introducing, oh my gosh, somebody that I could never even imagine doing all those things. And in addition to all of that incredible athletic skill, she went from being financially deep in debt and emotionally distraught to paying off over, listen guys, $212,000 worth of debt and medical expenses in 48 months. That's $212,000. And Jen, my favorite part of that is how many 1099s or job equivalents did you have during that time?
We had during 1 year's time, for those of you that don't know, 1099s are jobs. So during our most trauma and drama-filled years of paying off debt, so it took us 4 years, 48 months to pay off that amount, and we had 10 W-299s during that year, and it was just an amazing experience. But what I loved about this, Jill, is we've talked over the years about how much weight and finances are so heavily related, and there's so much deeper than just the amount of debt we owe or the weight that we have on us. And Jill, before we get started, I have to let some of our folks on the line just know a little bit about you, because some of them may not know your background. But one of the reasons I was really excited to partner with Jill on this, that she asked me to come on board and help facilitate things, because Jill is really the one running the program. This is her awesome program that we're going to be diving into today. But Jill came out of a broken relationship as a single overweight mom to becoming a vibrant and energetic, successful businesswoman that she is today. She went on to lose 135 pounds, all while enjoying M&M's candy along the way. And what I loved about Jill is I love many things about Jill, but one of the things I really appreciate about her story is she's kept that weight off for over 7 years. That's pretty amazing. And she notes here that this kills me, Jill, Jill can lift 25 pounds of M&M's and is a world-class loser, not lifter. Oh, you turkey, for writing that.
So I love listening to Jen talk about how much she used to lift. I mean, it's just outside of my comprehension. But I probably have lost that many pounds and gained them back over the years. And so that's part of what we want to share with you today. What I'm excited to be a part of and to share with you is how I did lose that weight. Part of my story is how I gained the weight, because how do we ever get that much weight on our bodies? I am 5'4". I'm probably really 5'3.5", but I claim 5'4" because my daughter's 5'3.5", and I want to be a half inch taller. And at one point, I actually weighed 265 pounds that I know of. Now, I stopped weighing when I hit 265 pounds, so we're really not sure where I ended up before I started losing that weight. And I had been on every diet in the world. I gained that weight in many ways. I went on my very first diet when I was 10 years old. My mother, in her very loving way, put me on a 770 calorie a day diet, not knowing back then in the 70s what that could do long term to me. That plus lots of emotional reasons, I gained and lost and gained and lost. That's why I say I'm a world-class weight loser, not weight lifter. And my goal is for you to never lose another pound, not 1 pound from where you are right now, because I look at losing something as needing to find it. I lose my keys usually at least once a day, but my goal is not to never find them again. My goal is always to find them again. So when we talk about losing something, it's with the concept of finding it again. So I don't want you to come into a world where you lose your weight only to find it again. Often when a client asks me, or tells me, I really want to go on this diet, what do you think? I'm absolutely fanatic about not doing diets, so they know I'm going to say something different than what they want to hear most likely. And I just say, you know what? I love that you're going on a diet. How much weight are you hoping to gain on this diet? Because that's what happens when we diet. So today I'm going to share a little bit about not how I gained the weight, but how I started to lose the weight, and let you know a few things that you can do to start on that journey. If you're like most of us in this country, we have dieted. And even those of us who don't carry extra weight, diet. because we're always looking for the next best thing to keep us where we are, even if we're not gaining weight or we are not overweight. And the way that I did it, I giggle a little bit because whenever I tell this story and there's a nutritionist in the room, I'm like, cover your ears. You're not going to want to hear what I have to say, because it defies the laws of traditional nutritionists. But what it doesn't do is defy the knowledge of our body. We have spent so many years separating our body and soul. And what I did to lose that initial weight was to connect my body and soul, and to connect my body intuition to my eating habits. And that's what I want to talk about. What happened is I went into a difficult stage in my life where I really needed to be strong, not just strong physically like Jen was. I cannot imagine, I don't say never, but I cannot imagine lifting over 200 pounds straight over my head. I just can't imagine it. But I needed to be strong enough to get through what I was about ready to face in my life. I needed to be strong in my spirit. I needed to be strong in my mind, and I needed to be strong in my body. And all of those things combined, I knew I couldn't go on another diet. I'd been on every diet there was. I've been on Slim Fast and Weight Watchers and Diet Center and Jenny Craig and Elaine Powers, and I can't even remember, grapefruit and bananas and salad and steak and no sugar. Anyway, every diet you can imagine I had been on. I knew I couldn't diet again because I couldn't make myself do that. So I did this really radical thing that I had heard one time from somewhere, some way around the edges, and it seems so simple when I say it out loud, but it was radical for me. And if you've struggled with your weight for a while, it may be radical for you as well. So what I did is I decided to eat when I was hungry and stop when I was full. And that seems real simple, but for those of us who have overfed or force-fed ourselves for years, remembering what hunger and full signals are is really challenging. If we've overfed ourselves or force-fed ourselves for years, which is what we do when we eat past full, our body never really settles into, oh, I'm full, I don't want any more food. The other thing that we typically do when we force-feed ourselves is we do it with things like sugar, pasta, carbohydrates, chips, things that have a lot of what we call empty calories. So our body is still craving nutrition. So it doesn't even really know it's hungry. So I did this radical thing one morning. I thought, I'm going to eat anything I want as long as I want, as long as I eat when I'm hungry and stop when I'm full. And the one thing I had denied myself for many years was M&Ms. So I went out and bought M&Ms. And whenever I was hungry, I ate M&Ms. Sometimes it was 2 handfuls full. Sometimes it was 2 M&Ms full. And I honestly did that with very little other food other than some wine and every now and then a slice of cheese. But that was about it for a while. And I know that we all have those foods that we consider to be bad or good. And I had always thought of M&Ms as bad. They were bad for me. They were bad food. I was bad if I ate them. And so I just ate those foods. And what happened when I decided to eat them when I was hungry and stop when I was full, a few months into it, it was about 3 months, because I started this in October, and in December sometime, I got back on that scale and I had lost 80 pounds. And part of what happened was I learned to eat when I was hungry, foods that we consider to be bad. So Jen just put up in the poll, a quick poll for you to look at, to think about what are those foods that you consider, I would eat them forever if I could. And what happens is we look at those foods and we think, oh, those are bad foods. And so what I want you to take into the next couple of weeks, or hopefully into the rest of your life, every time you sit down to eat and you think, oh, I can't eat this, this is bad, or even worse, I ate that, I'm such a bad person, I had such a bad day. Or it's also the same as when we say, hey, I ate really good today, I'm a good person. Food has no morality. And we, as a human race in our country, we treat food as good and bad. Healthy and unhealthy are not words we use typically. Good or bad, we imbibe it with mortality. So every time you think, is this a good food or bad food? I want you to remember Jill Davis saying, food doesn't have morality, it just is a tool. And it's like having a hammer. I have moved many times in my life, and when I go to hang something up, I inevitably, at least once, smash my thumb. I am a carpenter's daughter, but I am not a carpenter. And that hammer is not good or bad because I hit my thumb. It's just a tool. I wasn't careful with it and hit my thumb. The same thing with food. Food is not bad or good. It is just a tool to nourish our bodies. So please keep that in mind. You might find it really fascinating as you go through the next couple of weeks when you're in the mall food court, or if you're sitting at a restaurant or in line at the grocery store, you're going to hear people say, oh, I'm just going to eat this anyway, even though I know it's so bad for me to do that. I had lunch yesterday with a friend of mine who's 6 foot tall, thin as a rail, and we went out for pizza. Well, I ordered a salad, not because I didn't want to order pizza, but because it has the best salad that I love. And she sat down, she goes, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and order pizza, even though I know I'm so bad to do it. And again, my lights went off and went, wow, we all give food morality. We just do it. Even as I know not to, I do it. So as you go into the next couple weeks, that's the one tip I want you to think about. Food does not have morality. You can eat anything you want as long as you stop when you're full and only eat when you're hungry. And over time, your body and your soul will reconnect as you start craving nutrition and wanting to eat chips or nachos or popcorn or chocolate or whatever your cravings are will start to end as you stop giving food morality.
Jill, every time I hear your story, it's just mind-blowing. I love it. And I know those on the call with us today or on the webinar may have some questions. So if you do, go ahead and pop those in the questions section, and we will try to get those as many answered as we can today. Jill, you talk about for some of us who have struggled with weight, you talk about eating when you're hungry and not eating when you're not hungry. That's hard to learn that trust. Was that true for you? And if so, or if not, can you kind of expand on that?
Yeah, trust in our bodies is such a big thing, Jen, and I'm glad you bring that up, because typically when we've told ourselves we're bad people for eating things, how can we trust somebody who's bad? If I were to meet somebody who I had said as many ugly things about them as I've said about my own body, I wouldn't trust them. So it's really about slowing down and being aware of your hunger and full. There's no rules. I'm not big on rules, but the one soul body connector that I really recommend when you start to eat is to take 3 deep breaths. And just to do that by breathing in for 4, holding it for 4, and letting it out for 4. You can do it for 4 or 5 counts. It doesn't really matter, but just deep breaths, take 3 of them, and it settles down the nervous system. So we're not operating out of the amygdala, which is our survival brain. And if we're eating while our amygdala is triggered, it doesn't matter what we eat, we metabolize it differently. So especially, please don't eat in the car. Our body doesn't know that we're not being chased by a saber-toothed tiger while we're driving.
Jill, is there any other, you talk about using food as a tool. Was that hard to get your mind wrapped around that at first?
When I first lost my weight, Jen, I wasn't thinking about all of these things. I went back and looked at them later, and that's my goal when I teach this and I work with my clients on this, is to shorten that learning curve. It took me really 3 to 4 years to really get a handle on what I was doing. So to use food as a tool, it wasn't until I stopped eating pounds of M&Ms, stopping when I was full, admittedly, and losing weight. But then my body started craving nutrition, so then I started paying attention. Oh, what does my body want today? Well, I'm really craving red meat. That means I must need iron. Okay, I'm going to have some red meat. Not, a 2-pound hamburger, but a few bites of red meat until my body's full. Understanding the hunger and full signals. And we'll talk about those a little bit later on. Also embracing eating, joy eating. There are foods that we eat that just bring joy to our taste buds.
Since our webinar this morning, Jill, for those on the call, we're doing a webinar series, which we're having so much fun doing. And for those who signed up, you'll be getting those webinars invites as well. But I took your advice and I did my 3 breaths today, and it was really fun, not only for me, because it was a time of gratitude, but it was really amazing because one of my kids was watching me and I was explaining what I was doing, and he just smiled. And I thought, what a great thing to be able to eat for joy and not for anything else. So thank you. Jill, I know you've got some other things to share with us today about how we can connect more on this subject.
Yes, thanks, Jen. I think it's so important that the conversation continues. And that's really why I designed the program that I have. And I call it, like I said, a weight release program. We're releasing pain. We're releasing our beliefs about ourselves. We're releasing the fact that we think we're bad or that food is bad. And so I do this with one-on-one with clients for $8.95. But as you and I talked, we realized we wanted to make it, available to everybody, much more affordable. So we have a program that we put together, and I know in a minute you're going to share those pricing, but I want to share the details of it. The holidays are coming up, and I know holidays are always a stress for people. So I want you to think about what would it feel like to go into the holidays and not worry about gaining weight. To be able to know on New Year's Eve you're going to be able to wear the dress you picked out in September. What would it feel like to get onto the airplane, to travel to see family, and not worry if you're going to have to ask for a belt and extender so that you can buckle your belt? What are those things? And when you think about that, what would be the cost of not participating in this? When you join, there are some things that you get. Number one, you get a guaranteed spot. We are keeping the group small, as I prefer to work with smaller groups. I think the communication is better in a smaller group. You will get more benefit. You will get access to a private Facebook page, and you will get a 24-hour head start on that. The Facebook page actually starts on September 1st, but we'll have it ready for you August 31st. You'll get access to 8 live sessions where you can interact with Jen and I one-on-one in those live sessions. It's a group coaching session, but it will be the Zoom call you all may be familiar with, or we'll see your face, you'll see our face. It'll be a great experience. Those sessions will be recorded, and when you download them to your computer, you'll have lifetime access to them so you can go back and review them. Each session will have a handout for you to do exercises and to review what we talked about. You'll get complete question and answer support. At the very end, you'll get a full e-booklet of everything that we've discussed. And you'll get discounted one-on-one coaching options with Jen and I.
Jill and I also talked when we talked about pricing, and we were like, wow, not everybody out there can afford the $900. We know that. And that's exactly why we put together this program. So we're offering kind of a crazy cheap, and I mean cheap, price off of the program, and we're offering it for a one-time fee, a monthly pass, all access pass for just $97. And for those who like to pay weekly, we even have an option for you, and that's the $18 a week program for 8 weeks. Otherwise, for those of you that want to do like a 2 monthly payment program, we've made it really easy at $67 a month. So your best way to go, if you're kind of the frugal one like I am, is the $97 all access pass. That'll get you all the things that Jill had mentioned above. But if you're kind of wanting to try this out and tiptoe in the water and you feel better on doing the weekly or monthly plan, that's fine too. What we wanted to do is make it really easy for you, so those of you on the fence can say, yes, we want to do it, because we believe so firmly in helping people through those stuck spots. And I know for me, Jill, honestly, again, I'm so delighted that you asked me to help host, because I'll be going through this journey myself. So I'm really excited to learn from you. I'm excited for the people who are going to join in on it. And it's something that I really believe in. And so I hope those who are looking to go on this journey will jump in, because really, how can you not?
And Jen, I'm laughing because I come from sales, and we never use the word crazy cheap. We use, high value. But you're so right. When we were doing this, I'm like,
crazy cheap.
So, we would love for you to join us. We'd love for it to be a difference in your life. And you will be getting emails from Jen and I with all of the details and a recording of this event that we just did today, so you can go back and review that as well. So as you go into the next couple of weeks, put me on your shoulder, keep Jill Davis in the back of your head saying, you are not good or bad based on the foods you eat. Food does not have morality. Combine your soul, your mind, your body. Listen to your body. Eat when you're hungry. Stop when you're full. And I can't wait to go on this adventure with you.
Love it, Jill. And remember to take those 3 breaths before any eating. And with that, we're going to wrap up. And for those of you that are on the call or listening to the replay, know that if you've signed up for this, you do not need to re-sign up for the webinar series. Those will be sent out to you. And look for 2 more coming in the series, and we'll get announcements out to that. And like Jill said, look for your emails. We'll have details on the program itself in there. And with that, Jill and I are going to sign off for the day, and hope you have
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.